Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today we are diving into an exciting topic. Essentially, where do I see the next wave for the Singapore property market? And I especially feel that this is an important topic because being on the ground every day, speaking to many buyers, I feel that because of social media, everyone is singing the same tune. And this creates a herd mentality and sort of a sensing of what is the best kind of property to buy today. But to me, as the property market evolves, there are significant changes that we need to understand because sometimes we got to be a bit more contrarian, cannot just follow what the majority already knows, right? And of course, contrarian not just for the sake of being different, but we really got to pivot away from the crowd and at the same time got to be backed by logical data. So this is what I'm trying to explore in this video. Anyway, this video really took me very long to piece together because I don't want to just, throw out fluffy ideas out there without backing it up. I did a lot of research, data crunching, slicing and dicing of data to be able to come up with this video. So I would really appreciate if you could do me a small favor by liking and subscribing to this video, and better yet, share to people whom you think can benefit. And thank you in advance. Anyway, this is going to be a huge topic, so I will have a part 2 video which I will release very soon, talking about the small specific area where I see the next opportunity, and using data from surrounding resale condos, I will try to dissect what are the kind of attributes that affect the profitability of a condo. And trust me, you won't want to miss it. All right, let's start by acknowledging a very big problem in today's market. We are seeing a very, very tight supply in the property market right now. Obviously, not in every part of Singapore, but in particular in popular resale condos. So allow me to illustrate what I'm talking about because I know a few of you are rolling your eyes right now, saying, where got undersupply? This person don't know what he's talking about. Let's look at what is happening to a few condos that did really well, okay? If you are on the hunt for a three-bedder unit, ideally with an enclosed kitchen, a nice yard space and utility room, for ease of reference, I would just, filter for those three-bedder above 1,000 square feet, and you might be surprised by the numbers. Let's try to find these units in Property Guru. First, we have Park Esta. Let's filter first. Your three bedrooms above 1,000 square feet. Let's put this data into Excel. Only 7 units on sale now, out of 1,399 units at Park Esta. 0.5% of 3-bedder above 1,000 square feet available for sale. Next, we have Jadescape. Only 2 of such units for sale out of 1,200 units. 0.17% of the units. Then Park Clementi's, only 5 of such units for sale out of 1,450 units. 0.34% of such units. Sterling Residences, only 2 units, 0.16%. Seaside Residences, 8 units, 0.95%. And to sum them up, there are only 24 of such units on Property Guru right now. I haven't even excluded those duplicated listings or those listings that have been sold. But let's ignore all this for the purpose of this discussion. 24 units available out of 6,000 plus units in all these developments. Not even 1% of the total supply. And I hope you get what I mean by now. This overwhelming undersupply highlights the challenges buyers face when searching for these so-called desirable properties. So if you're trying to find your dream home in these popular resale condos, it is like searching for a needle in a haystack. So we have already established a tight supply in the market, but why is this happening? A common perception has emerged among buyers regarding what constitutes the right property, right? And many people seem to think that they need to buy the right property, the classic 3 bedrooms minimally, near MRT within 1 kilometer to reputable primary school, near HDB so that you got HDB upgraders. It's like, there's this unwritten rule book. You have your owner occupiers who are buying these units for their own stay because of family circumstance, and you have investors out there seeking the same properties to sell to these owner occupiers because generally own stay buyers are a bit more desperate to secure a place and they are willing to pay a premium price. So guess what? Both the owner occupiers and then the investors are jumping into the same few properties, leading to very fierce competition. And with already such limited supply in the market, and with this herd mentality going on right now, it further drives up the prices like nobody's business. But I feel that this narrative oversimplifies the buying process because the buying pattern is not homogeneous. It is not a one-size-fits-all, obviously, just because we are seeing the big rush for properties near MRT, near good primary schools, near HDB with HDB upgraders, doesn't mean everyone is on the same page, right? In fact, I have served a few buyers who are actively seeking out peace and quiet, and these folks might prefer living a bit further away from the hustle and bustle of life and maybe they just want a quiet neighborhood where they can escape the noise after a long day from work. And for these people, the peace far outweighs the convenience of being near amenities and near MRT stations. And then there are also those who actually want to be right in the heart of the action, being within walking distance to restaurants, bars, and entertainment options. And these buyers might gravitate towards areas that are more vibrant, like the CBD, for example, where they can fully immerse themselves in the urban experience. Nowadays, also very popular, we also have the dual income, no kids, the dings, who are comfortable just buying a smaller unit type for own stay. Personally, I have many friends who are dings, they just very happy having a dog or having a few cats at home lah. And in fact, do check out the video here, somewhere here, where I mentioned the increasing preference for smaller unit types due to the major shifts in our demographics. Of course, backed by very good data. So for buyers who are a bit more flexible with their living situations, there's a unique opportunity here. And in fact, you don't have to limit yourself to the conventional right kind of property everyone is vying for. Instead, you can explore other places that might seem less popular for now. So what I'm trying to say here is that steer away from this herd mentality because buyer preference is never homogeneous. The property market is more nuanced than it often seems. Now, here is where it gets a bit more interesting. If you are a savvy investor, you might be considering what opportunities this scarcity presents. And in fact, I'm starting to see price increase in previously underrated and underappreciated areas, and I attribute it to the different types of buyers exploring these areas. But let me first caveat, I'm not saying that properties like your Jadescape, Park Esta, Sterling Residences, all these won't be good investment if you buy now. The perception that whatever attributes these condos have equate to profit is already ingrained in many buyers' mind, which will continue to drive sales. And there are still plenty of people ready to snap them up. And if I were to reflect on the past market trends, right, we see a notable comparison. In the past, CCR properties were designed with very creative layouts and flashy designs, often at the expense of an efficient layout. They have overly large, planters and bay windows that didn't really quite fit what the buyers wanted. Case in point, we have, I hope I'm not offending anyone staying there. This is just my personal opinion. Case in point, we have the Lumos condo in between Orchard and Great World MRT. Look at the two-bedder Property Guru asking 2,500 plus PSF. Relatively cheap for a prime CCR condo, right? But overall quantum comes up to almost 3 million for a two-bedroom because the two-bedroom is huge at 1173 square feet. Check out the floor plan, generally pretty odd shape. The entire floor plate is curved, 2 levels with staircase. So the staircase is in the middle. So the long corridors is pretty unnecessary. More void spaces here, so a lot more wasted space. So overall, very inefficient layout. And being overly big at 1173 square feet for a two-bedder, the quantum isn't the most palatable. For the three-bedder, asking price on Property Guru, pretty cheap at 2,300 plus PSF only. But overall quantum at 4 million. Let's check out this layout, very amazing one. 1755 square feet. Very good sized bedrooms, comes with bomb shelter, proper yard space and a small WC. But quite wasted planter box, bay window surrounding the entire unit. Really wasted. So as a result of all these inefficient layouts, overly large floor plates, coupled with the much higher price point at that point in time, a lot of properties in the CCR were being overlooked, leading to a general disdain for the CCR. And this translates to obviously bad data, so then people have a blanket view that CCR, no good, just avoid lah. So the next 2 points that I will discuss here gives me pretty strong conviction that market will shift towards the CCR. And number one, it is the evolution of layouts in the CCR properties. And developers are really stepping up their game in the CCR. And one of the reasons some buyers were hesitant about properties in this area in the past was, due to the quirky and often impractical layouts. And I mean, some of these units were designed with very creative intention, but just didn't work for the typical family lifestyle. But here is where the URA harmonization comes into play. And thanks to these new guidelines, developers are starting to create more efficient and sensible layouts. Unlike last time where CCR has overly large unit sizes, developers are learning from what worked well in the OCR and RCR, which is the smaller layouts that maximize space without sacrificing much on the functionality. Now, instead of the oversized units with awkward, unusable space like the planter boxes and bay windows, we are seeing very well thought out floor plans that meets the demands today, like your decent sized bedroom, functional kitchen and sufficient storage, all things that really resonate with today's buyers. And secondly, we are seeing that prices have leveled off largely due to land cost. Let's take a look at this Business Times article over here on the Bayshore GLS. This Bayshore plot was sold at 1388 PSF PPR. Mind you, this is an OCR condo. And from this article here, very interesting one, not the first time I've seen. Every few months, I will see the same phrase quoted again and again. Highest land price for a 99-year leasehold private housing in the suburbs, or OCR. So every few months, we got record prices lah, essentially. The article goes on to say plots like Zion Road were tendered successfully at 1202 PSF PPR and 1304 PSF PPR for the parcel A and B respectively. And these two plots are in the CCR. Now, CCR land sold cheaper than OCR. And note, these two land plots are pretty near to the MRT as well. So now you can see that with similar budgets, buyers now have the option to explore CCR properties at a comparable or even lower prices than before. And based on my estimate, the Bayshore development should be launching at 28 to 29 PSF on average for an OCR property. And you compare this price to the two parcels at Zion Road, CCR property near MRT, and could potentially be priced at the same price. Would this interest you? Similar PSF and with URA harmonization forcing developer to create efficient layout, the overall quantum for these few plots may be very similar. Caveat again, the purpose here is not to bash the plot at Bayshore. There would definitely be people who just love that location, but what I'm trying to say here is that the shift is making CCR properties much more appealing. People are becoming more receptive to the idea of investing in these units because they offer a combination of prime location, smaller but more efficient layouts, and most importantly, at almost the same price as an OCR property. And I'm starting to see all these opportunities panning out in the CCR. Of course, not all areas within the CCR, just some pockets here and there. And as the product in CCR is evolving to meet the mass market demand, I feel that demand is starting to shift there. And this will start to drive prices up, good data starts to come in, and then it creates this cycle. Good data, more attention, more eyes into this area, and then prices start to go up again. Of course, you can choose to follow the herd to pay the high benchmark price, or you can take advantage of the evolving landscape and explore new opportunities. Of course, there is no right or wrong, but to me, if circumstances allow and I have the flexibility on where I want to stay, I would definitely not go compete with the rest. Instead, I would choose to pivot away from the crowd and look elsewhere. Of course, got to be backed by sensible data. So to me, the prime location, efficient layout, and more palatable price point is going to be a huge game changer. And anyway, this is the end of the video. I really spent a lot of time and effort to try to come up with something like this. So would appreciate if you guys could support me by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. And if you think we are a good fit and can work together, do reach out to me on my WhatsApp. And I'll be more than happy to share more over a coffee session. And as mentioned at the start of this video, I'm going to release a part 2 soon to deep dive specifically into an area within the CCR where I see the next opportunity. And I will try to dissect what are the kind of attributes a condo should have, be it freehold or leasehold, mega or boutique development that drives the profitability of a condo. So if you are interested, do click on the notification bell so you won't miss out when the video is out. See you in the next one. Bye bye.